So appreciate y'all being patient. I want to initially announce that at 8:30 this morning, Jonathan Pentland was arrested for assault and battery 3rd degree in reference to the video that we've all seen. It's a very disturbing video. It's one that we're not going to tolerate or condone in Richland County. And the message I want to give is that when something like that happens, the Sheriff's Department is going to act very swiftly, and we're going to hold those responsible for those accountable. We're not going to let people be bullies in our community, and if you are, then you're going to answer for it. And that's what we've done in this case. This case first came to our attention on Monday when our deputies responded and took initial reports. They did a good job at that point because they didn't rush to make judgments. They took the information and it was passed to our investigators. Our investigators got it yesterday, but one of the most valuable pieces of evidence we had was the video. I want to thank whoever was responsible for that video. Thank you for doing that. That shows what our community can do when we work together. Taking videos, reporting stuff to us. Our initial call came from a citizen that lived in that community who saw the confrontation and called the Sheriff's Department and reported it to us. That's what we ask our citizens to do. When there's something going on in the community, call, let us respond so we can get involved and we can take care of it. And that's what happened in this case. That's what we all need to do. We have to work together to make sure that we prevent incidents that occurred on Monday from ever happening again. We can do that by working together. I am not going to identify the young man that was the victim in this case. There's reasons for doing that that just don't need to be talked about. He was a victim, and we're addressing him as a victim. And the individual that was arrested, again, he was arrested at 8:30 this morning. He was booked into the Richland County Detention Center. We do not have a jail photograph yet because they haven't taken one. We'll distribute photographs that we have. And once the jail photograph is available, we'll release that. I don't know if he's had a bond hearing or not, but he'll appear in front of a bond hearing at the normal time. No special considerations was given whatsoever. Our investigators worked tirelessly on this case. Sergeant McDaniel, who was the lead investigator on this case, got it yesterday when the video was brought to my attention. He didn't even go home last night. He slept in his office to make sure that this case got the priority that it needed done. Him and Investigator Raines worked on this case. They interviewed witnesses, they interviewed suspects, they interviewed the victim, they interviewed the victim's father. They worked on this case to bring it to a conclusion very quickly. This was not something that we needed to be drug out because rumors and untruths were being put out on social media. We needed to get the truth out, and that's what we did. Prior to this press conference, I met with community leaders from elected officials of different organizations so they could hear from me the facts of the case, know what we've done, why we did it, and how we proceeded. That's what I owe this community, is get it to the community leaders first and then have the press conference. That has always been our policy, and that's what we're going to continue to do. By working together like we did at 4 o'clock, we came together as a group, we discussed this, questions were asked, and we talked about a path forward. And that path forward is us working together, knowing that we do have incidents like this in our community that we need to work together to prevent, and when it does happen, it's not going to be tolerated. It's not going to be tolerated by your law enforcement, and it's not going to be tolerated by elected officials or community. When we work together as a team, we can prevent incidents like that from happening. And when they do happen, we can move swiftly, and that's what we've done on this case. It was terrible. The first time I saw the video, it was terrible. It was unnecessary. It was a bad video. The young man was a victim. The individual that we was arrested was the aggressor, and he's been dealt with accordingly. I've been in contact with Commanding General at Fort Jackson, General Beagles, since the suspect is an active duty soldier. We've discussed it. The military has taken whatever steps that they deem necessary, but we've all came together and we've worked on this case to bring it to the conclusion that we've got. I hope by the community knowing what's happened, that the suspect was arrested, that we're moving forward. I hope the community can step back a little bit now and say, okay, what can we do working together? That's my hope, that's my prayer, And that's the goal, I think, of everybody in this community who cares about this community. If you care about this community, you want us to work together and you want us to move forward. So, questions?
How did you come to the assault third degree charge? And if you reached out to the boy and his family yet, what did they say?
We gave the facts of the case that we have and the evidence we had to the solicitor's office and also presented to a magistrate, and that's who determined what charge would be brought. So that was assault third. And the second part of your question, did we reach out to the family? Yes. We worked with the victim's father last night. We've been in contact with them, and we're working with the family.
Sheriff, what was the particular act that led to the assault and battery charge?
The fact that he put his hands on somebody, he touched somebody, that's an assault. That's assault and battery when you place your hands on someone, and he did. The video showed that he did, and that's the evidence that we have that he was charged with.
What was the maximum penalty?
It is a magistrate level case. It's a $500 fine or 30 days in jail.
Sheriff, can you speak a little bit about what led up to the altercation, before what was captured on video?
Not really. There were some other things that occurred that really doesn't justify the actions of the suspect, and that goes into the victim. And again, I'm not going to identify the victim, and I'm just not going to do that. But there were some other issues that had occurred, but none of them justified the assault that occurred.
And then how about after the video, did deputies come on scene? How did it end?
Well, the deputies made sure that the situation was de-escalated, talked to everybody that was involved in it. There was no danger to anybody at that point. That's when they wrote the report, got the information, then it was forwarded to investigators to then do the investigation on it.
Sheriff, there were some incident reports sent this morning pertaining to the victim, but nothing on this offender was sent out. Can you explain, why there wasn't an incident report sent out on this offender and why these other reports were released?
I have no idea what's been released. All I know is he was arrested this morning, and that's the bottom line. I think it's more important than anything is that he was held accountable very quickly, and he was arrested this morning. Yes, sir. The victim is not a juvenile.
Were there any activists or advocates at the press conference?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Were there any activists or advocacy groups at the meeting of the press conference?
Yes, the 4 o'clock meeting, we did have activists and different organizations here. We reach out and work with these organizations, and you don't build a relationship during a crisis, you build it before. And we started that some time ago. So we have a relationship with activists and different organizations, and they were part of the meeting that we had.
Sheriff, why wasn't the suspect charged that day or immediately after the incident occurred?
Because we had to build a case. If we had hurried up and made some decisions at that point, then we may have not had the evidence we need to be able to go to court and convict someone. That's the goal, is build a strong case. The deputies that initially responded did not have that enough information to make an arrest on the scene, so that's why the investigations got it, and that's what they did, and they did it very quickly. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have anything to say to the people protesting in the neighborhood right
No,
now?
peacefully protesting. There's no problem with people peacefully protesting. We support that, and we'll be there to make sure that it is a peaceful protest. So, that's a right that people have. Is that they want to peacefully protest, then they're more than welcome to do that. Yes, ma'am.
Are the leaders happy with the choice to charge him with third-degree assault?
Is who happy?
The community leaders you met with earlier?
The community leaders understand what the charge is, and that's not a charge that we determine. That's determined by the prosecutors and the magistrates. So they understand what he's charged with. That's what the incident showed that happened. It was assault and battery third degree. And the law describes exactly what Penland did, so that's why he's charged with that. Hold on. Yes, ma'am.
Just for clarification, there are two incident reports released, one from April 8th and one from the 10th. Are those what you're referring to when you say those involved the victim and you can't go into detail?
Right. I just don't think at this point we need to discuss that. What we need to discuss is the fact that this young man was assaulted and the person responsible for that has been arrested.
So neither of those two reports were connected to what precipitated this altercation?
There may be some connection to it, but it doesn't justify it.
Obviously, there's people that are out in the neighborhood still out there. Are you planning to go address them, or are you planning
No, I'm speaking to y'all, and I spoke to the community members and the community leaders that were here. What I asked them to do is go back to their communities, the people that they represent, and let them know what they've been told today. There's no need for me to go out there and address anybody. I'm doing that now publicly, and I think reaching a bigger audience.
Is the victim facing any charges, Sheriff?
No, the victim is not facing any charges whatsoever.
Did you ever refer to the victim as a suspect last night?
Did I ever refer to the victim as a suspect? No. This is the first time that I've discussed it, so he is the victim, and we have the suspect, and he's been arrested. All right, thank y'all.